So the other day we had a horrendous mass shooting. I actually think it's fair to call it a terrorist attack that happened at Club Q, which is an LGBTQ club, I believe, in Colorado Springs. 5 people died, over a dozen were injured. And one of the weird things that happened in the aftermath is that there weren't really many messages from right-wing commentators and right-wing politicians that were like, hey man, this is wrong, rest in peace, this violence is terrible, whatever. There were even generic ones. What you saw was more along the lines of, hey, this Club Q place, they were grooming children. And so since they were grooming children, which, they're saying in a roundabout way that it's a club full of pedophiles, therefore, what'd you expect? What'd you expect to happen? Now, is it true that they're pedophiles and they're going after kids? Absolutely. There's not a single shred of evidence to that effect. There was drag queen story hour or whatever that they did there, which is just drag queens reading stories to kids. So it is family friendly. There is no sexualizing of children or whatever the fuck. That's right-wing bullshit is what that is. That is them projecting onto the situation what they want to be there because they want to demonize the trans community. They want to go after the LGBTQ community and say, hey, they're predators and that's why we need to crack down on this identity and not allow it, etc. So it was kind of jarring because this is, the first time or one of the first times that you really saw there was a tacit acceptance of the violence. Well, now it's getting worse and worse as time goes by. So in Raw Story, they say right-wing pastor celebrates Club Q massacre as, quote, good thing in hate-filled sermon. So this guy's name is Aaron Thompson of the Sure Foundation Baptist Church in Vancouver. So I'm going to play this for you. This is Vancouver, Washington, by the way. I'm going to play this for you, and you could see he's trying to hit that exact line I just described. The line of I don't feel bad. These people are groomers. These people are pedophiles. It's good that they got killed, but I'm not actually pro-violence. I wouldn't go and do the shooting. So you'll see what it is here. And there's a term that people use for this. Now, I must admit, I do think this term is overused, but now you could clearly see the kind of thing that it's referencing. And that term is stochastic terrorism. It's you prod and you prod and you prod, and you make these arguments where the logical conclusion is, we should do violence on innocent people. And then when it happens, you turn and go, me, bro? I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. So anyway, let's go ahead and listen to his exact words, and you'll see just how egregious it is.
That club got shut up the other day. Now, am I sad that 5 homos got shot? No, I'm not sad at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing that they're not here anymore to molest kids. And I'm not condoning anybody to do anything like that. I don't believe it's right to take the law into our own hands, and I've said that so many times. But here's what I won't be upset about. I'm not going to be upset when someone that hates God and actively is promoting against God and hates his guts and molests children, even if it is just their eyeballs, to have to see these freaks writhing around.
Did you catch that line? They're molesting kids, quote, even if it is just their eyeballs. So, in other words, he admits there is no actual sexualizing of kids or pedophilia. What he's saying is it's inherently sexual for drag queens to be around kids. So if there's a drag queen and they're reading a book, it's still sexual enough, in his opinion. Come on, man. Come on. What are we talking about here? And again, people were murdered at this place. And he thinks the greater evil, the thing he actually morally condemns and spends most of his time railing against, is that drag queens were around kids. So guilty enough. Man.
And doing all these crazy dances in front of children. And then afterwards reading them a book or something. I said it's not right to take the law into your own hands, but I do understand why people are so fed up, because our own government is protecting these freaks. And that's all you see on the media right now. right-wing MAGA kills, these queers, and then some guy jumped in and helped them or whatever. Who cares? Like, I really don't.
Clearly you care. Clearly you care. And you care in the sense where your true feelings are, hey, they kind of had it coming. Now, by the way, this is the same shit these people used to say about gay people. Just gay people being around. Like, if you had a gay teacher in a classroom and they were openly gay, you would have the parents freak out and say, this person needs to be fired, this person needs to be replaced, this person is grooming kids. And it's just not true. It's not true. They don't care. They don't care because they view that lifestyle as a sin against God. They view it as unethical and immoral and unjust by its very nature. So, functionally, they don't want gay people or trans people to exist.
I don't care that those people got killed. And you're like, that sounds really hateful, Pastor. Well, it is hateful because I do hate them. Because they're a menace and a wart on the rear end of society. Amen. And there's nothing redeeming about them whatsoever. Listen, we're in America. We can say whatever we want. And I'm not inciting violence, so don't even try to go there. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving.
Look, you heard what he said. The message he's trying to get across is very simple. I don't care that they died. It's a good thing that they died. Now, I'm not saying you should go and kill them, but the fact that it happened is okay and even positive. Because they're groomers, they're pedophiles, it's evil, and basically they have it coming. This is the line that they're going with. Now, you could say, well, Kyle, this is just like a random-ass pastor. Is this really indicative of the feelings of, a decent chunk of society? Well, the father of the gunman, who, again, I think it's fair to call a terrorist because this person did violence for a political reason. And the definition of terrorism is doing violence for a political or religious reason. And in fact, this violence may have been done for both political and religious reasons. Well, they interviewed the dad of the gunman. Now, this guy, by the way, was a porn star by the name of Dick Delaware. Not kidding. Dick Delaware. That was his porn star name. And he also was an MMA fighter. And this guy's had, I think a criminal record and substance abuse history. And so they talked to him, and listen to this. Listen to what he says.
There was a shooting involving multiple people,
right?
And then later on going to find that it's a gay bar.
Yeah, right. And
I was like, oh my God, is he gay? As a scared, oh my God, shit, is he gay? And he's not gay, so it's
well, you guys had conversations about that. You were.
Oh yeah,
you
I was adamant
told him. Yeah, you were adamant that gay is bad.
I'm a Mormon. I'm a conservative Republican, and we don't do gay. Gay. We don't do gay.
Yeah.
I can't get answers from the attorneys really, but they're saying that somebody's, it's involving a gay bar or some shit. I don't know. I don't know what the heck he did at a gay bar. I don't know what's going on.
Well, he's accused of going on a mass shooting at a gay bar and killing 5 people.
Colorado.
Okay, well, that's shit. If he's accused of doing that, this guy's not gay. I say that, but he's not gay.
So, guy just learns his son is a mass murdering terrorist. And his reaction is, well, he did it at a gay bar. When I first heard it was at a gay bar, I was like, oh my God, is he gay? Phew, he's not gay. 70% of this country now is in favor of gay marriage. 70% of this country is pro-gay marriage, which means 30% are anti-gay marriage. And then, obviously, even a smaller percentage of that says, gay people shouldn't exist or whatever. And then an even smaller percentage of that says we should try to eradicate gay people. But they're all coming out of the woodworks, aren't they? Whatever percentage that is that doesn't think gay people or trans people should exist, they're out and they're loud and now they're kind of proud about it. What a jarring mindset that is, isn't it? Now, by the way, I'll say the controversial thing, which is certainly when it comes to this pastor, right? This guy here. You do get the sense that with some of these guys, it's personal, right? Like they're struggling with something. And we've seen it time and time again. There's been various Republican politicians and televangelists who are vehemently and openly anti-gay. and then they get caught having gay sex. Happened to Ted Haggard. He was a very famous case. Massively anti-gay. Was caught doing crystal meth off a hooker's ass. A male hooker's ass. What is it? Larry Craig was another one. That I think he's the New Jersey Turnpike bathroom guy. He went in there, he was tapping his foot under the stall, which is the sign of like, hey, let's have gay sex or whatever. This is an anti-gay politician. There's been a number of these people. And they have like these repressed feelings. Usually they're raised in a religious environment. They're taught it's wrong and immoral and unethical. But they have those feelings. They struggle with those feelings. So to kind of mask their own feelings, they're very outwardly aggressive against gay people. And they've even done studies where you hook electrodes up to the genitals of men, show them porn, and the ones who express anti-gay sentiment usually get turned on by gay porn. And you get the sense that with the anti-gay stuff and the anti-trans stuff, there's something going on. Do you guys remember the story about Alex Jones? He had gone on, some anti-trans rants, and then when he was showing his computer screen one time, there was a tab open, and it was trans porn. Nobody bashes trans people more than Steven Crowder, and he's dressed up like a woman more times than I've ever seen any human being dress up like a woman, if they're supposedly a cis heterosexual male. So some of it is pure hatred and bigotry. A lot of it stems from fundamentalist religion. And then some of it, also a healthy dose of it, I think, is self-hatred. And look, we should all be clear in uniting and stating the obvious, which is that there's nothing fucking wrong with being gay or trans or whatever. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just who you are. And there is no moral judgment or ethical judgment that it's negative, it's not right. It's arbitrary. It's totally fine. So, but I mean, this stuff is next level, man. I want to play this one more time of this guy talking, because you could see him struggling in real time with how to walk this line. Because it seems like he wants to say, fuck it, they should all be killed. But he doesn't say that, so he tries to reel it in by saying, it's good they were killed, but I'm not saying anybody should do it. But wait, if it's good, then why wouldn't you say that people should do it? If it's good, isn't the logical conclusion that people should do that which is good? So he's struggling with it, but this is the line that they're walking now. The line is like, well, they kind of had it coming, or it's good, but don't do it because violence is wrong, but this is also wrong, and so, yeah, they're all pedophiles and groomers or whatever the fuck. Again, no evidence of that. None.
A club got shut up the other day. Now, am I sad that 5 homos got shot? No, I'm not sad at all. As a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing that they're not here anymore to molest kids. And I'm not condoning anybody to do anything like that. I don't believe it's right to take the law into our own hands, and I've said that so many times. But here's what I won't be upset about. I'm not going to be upset when someone that hates God and actively is promoting against God and hates his guts and molests children, even if it is just their eyeballs, to have to see these freaks writhing around and doing all these crazy dances in front of children, and then afterwards reading them a book or something. I said it's not right to take the law into your own hands, but I do understand why people are so fed up, because our own government is protecting these freaks, and that's all you see on the media right now. Right-wing MAGA kills, these queers, and then some guy jumped in and helped them or whatever. Who cares? Like, I really don't care that those people got killed. And you're like, that sounds really hateful, Pastor. Well, it is hateful, because I do hate them, because they're a menace and a wart on the rear end of society. Amen. And there's nothing redeeming about them whatsoever. Listen, we're in America. We can say whatever we want. And I'm not inciting violence, so don't even try to go there. But anyway, happy Thanksgiving.
By the way, all this talk about sexualizing kids, this has to stop, this is so wrong. Have any of these people said anything about the thing that happens all across this country, particularly in the Midwest, which is the child pageants, where you take these 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, put them in some scantily clad little dress, which is sexualized on purpose, load them up with makeup, do their hair in a fancy ornate style, and then you put them on stage and have grown-ass men gawk at these little girls. Not a single one of them has said a single fucking thing against those pageants, which are way, way more overtly sexualized than anything that happens with a drag show. Excuse me. Especially like Drag Time Story Hour or whatever the fuck, where you just have a drag queen read a story to a kid. Somehow, they're only angry at one of those things, and it happens to be the one with LGBTQ people involved. So, I mean, they can spare me their fake, moral indignation, because they certainly don't have consistent standards. Now, there's one more thing I gotta show you. I'm gonna pull it up, because, look, I don't want to play this game, right? This game of, like, everybody who I disagree with, or everybody in this particular group, they're groomers, they're pedophiles. Beware of them, beware of the other. Because that is generalizing by its very nature, and it does, whether purposefully or not, incite violence. But if you wanted to play that game of, oh my god, there's a mass movement of groomers and pedophiles, and we need to be careful because these people are extreme, they're the problem. If we were to play that game, it's very easy to say, hey, it's the far right. It's the Republicans who are the groomers and the pedophiles. Don't believe me? Watch this.
There are now 5 former Ohio State wrestlers accusing Republican Congressman Jim Jordan of knowing about a team doctor's alleged sexual misconduct.
43 men who say they were sexually assaulted, abused, molested, or harassed by Dr. Richard Strauss.
The former employee at the Republican National Committee was just sentenced to 12 years in prison for possession of child porn. He also told people in this group that his preference was for babies, and saying that they were his, quote, absolute favorite, and solicited another member of the group for videos of babies being raped.
George Nader. His criminal history included multiple convictions for child pornography and child molestation.
This morning, a judge sentenced Ralph Shorty to 15 years in prison. Police caught Shorty in a hotel room with a then 17-year-old boy.
The new charges against Joel Greenberg.
Sex trafficking of a minor and stalking a political opponent.
Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz allegedly having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl.
Investigators examining whether he, quote, violated federal sex trafficking laws.
To all of a sudden act like this phenomenon of girls getting pregnant at a young age that we consider young, 16 or 17, to act like it's a new thing is ridiculous. Girls between the ages of like 17 and 24 is when they're technically most fertile.
Yiannopoulos arguing sexual relationships between 13-year-old boys and men in their 20s could be consensual.
Some of those relationships between younger boys and older men, the sort of coming-of-age relationships, the relationships in which those older men help those young boys to discover who they are.
Back in 2004, Lauren Boebert's husband, Jason Boebert, was arrested for indecent exposure because he decided to reveal his penis to waitresses. Turned out one of the waitresses was 17.
33-year-old reality TV star Josh Duggar is in serious trouble, charged with receiving and possessing child pornography. Duggar was taken into federal custody, accused of downloading child sexual abuse material online showing children under the age of 12.
3 women accused a Tennessee state representative of abusing them when they were teenagers, and he was their high school basketball coach. Not only did the Republican stay in office, he was reelected, and he was just named chairman of a key state house education subcommittee.
State representatives in Tennessee have been working on a bill that's obviously a Republican-dominated legislature. The House version of the bill, as it was introduced, didn't include an age minimum. Yeah, it means it could pave the way to legalize child marriage, like child brides.
Congressman Rose's engagement announcement. No, that is not his daughter. They reportedly met while she was in high school. He was about 42.
Tucker's talking about former cult leader Warren Jeffs, who was convicted of sexually assaulting minors.
Well, actually, he's not in prison for that. Warren Jeffs didn't marry underage girls.
No, he's in prison for facilitation of child rape.
Whatever the hell that means. The rapist in this case has made a lifelong commitment to live and take care of the person. So it is a little different.
A man running for a college district's governing board arrested for masturbating on a campus. A Maricopa County College police officer found Randy Kaufman with his pants down, masturbating in his truck at 4:30 in the afternoon in the Rio Salado College campus. The parking lot just feet away from a preschool and child care center where kids were outside playing.
A former Trump official who has pled guilty to child porn charges. He is a former Commerce Department official in the Trump administration, sentenced to a 5.5-year prison term after pleading guilty to possession of child pornography. This is Adam Hageman.
Tony Lazzaro allegedly gave underage girls expensive gifts and money in exchange for sex.
He is charged with sex trafficking.
A former Florida Elections Commission attorney pleaded guilty today to conspiring to distribute, receive, and possess child pornography. Prosecutors say Eric Matthew Lipman shared the videos on a file hosting site. He faces up to 20 years.
The stunning political scandal that is rocking Capitol Hill. Republican Congressman Mark Foley abruptly resigned Friday after questionable emails he sent to a teenage boy.
Dennis Hastert convicted of a financial crime, part of a scheme to mask something more egregious, his molestation of children.
A former member of Governor Ivey's staff was arrested for child solicitation charges. This is a 36-year-old Chase Tristan Espy. He was charged with electronic solicitation of a child.
Roy more defiant as more accusers step forward, alleging sexual misconduct.
This is the shopping mall where some say it was common knowledge and not a big secret that Roy Moore would flirt with teenage girls when he was in his 30s.
One accuser says that Moore initiated a sexual encounter back in 1979 when she was just 14 years old.
A jury found Ghislaine Maxwell guilty of 5 out of 6 federal charges, including sex trafficking of minors.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
Now, all that stuff is true. Would it be fair of me to imply that all Republicans or all conservatives are groomers and pedophiles? Would that be fair? Would that be reasonable? No, that'd be absurd. That'd be complete and utter hackery. But that's exactly the scenario we're seeing with the far right going after the LGBTQ community, particularly in this instance, drag queens. That's what they're doing. The implication is that just their existence is sexual by its nature, and it's pedophilia and it's grooming. And that thought and spreading it around far and wide has now led to the murder of 5 people and the wounding of many more. It's led to terrorism. So maybe reel it in a little bit with the bigotry, with the hackery. But they won't. And so this is the current political environment. And it's going to go on. And there will be more dead bodies as a result of it. And we know where the blame lies. We know who's spreading this stuff. And I guess I'll end with this. It is jarring and sad and pathetic to see how mainstream on the right it's become. This notion that functionally is, they don't think trans people or drag queens should fucking exist. And just their existence is a threat to children. This is the logical consequence and end result of that belief in action. And it leads to stuff like you just heard the pastor say, and like you just heard the father of the terrorist say. It's not pretty. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.